All right, any redirect, Ms. Messiah?
Yes, Your Honor. And I'm going to, I think, Mr. Bixson, you had provided a case supplemental report. It's on 2/6.
Are you doing about the one I sent you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and honestly, I have to go back to the email and check, because I have a whole bunch of them, so I'm not sure which one I sent.
Sorry.
Well, if he sent them to you, do you have it, or did you not submit it to the court?
No, I do have it. I understood that to be the exhibit, the supplemental case report from that date. But again, in looking at, apparently there's something else from that date, Your Honor. So I'm just trying to see if he actually has that one, because that's what I thought he was, I thought it was that one, but it seems like there's some other one.
All right. Mr. Bixson, did you file any other supplementals? Or
We filed, I believe, a total of, I'm just counting here, 4 police reports, I believe.
Okay. Are any of those also labeled on the 6th of February?
I think that was the only one on the 6th. Yeah.
Okay. So it's 2/5, because all I have is 2 from the 5th, but that date was on the 6th. Do you happen to have one from the 6th? I mean, the 5th? Because it has.
I'm sorry.
Do you have any of the ones from the 5th?
I do, yes.
And those are filed with the court?
Yes, Judge, they are. There's 2 from the 5th.
Do you have any objection to having the staff pull those up?
How about it?
Okay.
All right.
All
So
right.
is the second one that says 2/5.
All right, Ms. Broom, if you can pull up the second one saying 2/5.
Is it the one labeled as second call, or?
I just have.
If it's a supplemental, it probably would be the second call.
Is it labeled as supplemental incident report?
It does say case supplemental, printed
Okay.
on 2/23, 2023, the same day as the like the other one. I think they were printed all the same day, because same day. And it says supervisor review. It says 2/6/2023. So it has that Monday as well.
Okay.
That's not.
Wait.
I'm sorry, what's the number?
Judge, if I could allow Mr. Schulman, because I'm getting a little confused between the different ones myself, if I could allow Mr. Schulman to clarify on that, I certainly appreciate it, because he was the one who was actually able to get these police reports.
Okay, you any objection to that, Ms. Mariah? Maybe you can speed things up here. So
I don't, Messiah. I don't. It has investigator. No worries. I know
I call you the wrong name. I apologize.
No, it's okay.
Your Honor,
It's late. We haven't, eaten. I don't know about you guys.
It's very confusing with the dates. There is an initial report at 2/5, and that is for the first phone call. There is a second supplemental report for 2/5.
Right.
Well,
Let's
report.
That appears to be the one we're trying to get.
Correct. Ms. Messiah, I think what you're looking at is the supervisor review date, which occurred the following day. The actual date of the report will show as 2/5. I believe that is P2.
Okay, and so what I'm looking at is the date and time. It has 2/5.
Why don't we pull up P2 and look and see if that's the same one you're talking about that you have, okay? That way we can all move it along.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and as large as you can make it, please. Thank you. Okay, does this appear to be the one you're referring to, Ms. Messiah?
Does, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, and Mr. Bixson, do I understand you've rested, right? Well, we got sidetracked on the reports here. So
well, we have no objection to the report unless we have to recross or something, Judge.
Okay. All right, Ms. Messiah, did you want to use this report in some way?
I do, Your Honor. And so have they rested? Or is
Yes, he said it was his last question, and then you started asking about comparing these supplemental reports.
Because I just didn't want the wrong one to sort of go. I didn't want to take that off if I was going to need it next. I'm sorry, Your Honor. Okay, and so, Ms. Cully, are you able to look at the screen? You see the screen in front of you?
Yes, I do.
All right, and to the extent we can we make that a little larger and go to the 1, 2, 3?
I can zoom in.
Okay. And so can you read the third paragraph? Start reading the, I'm sorry, the fourth with I asked.
Right. I asked her what injuries she had. She stated that she had scratches on the back of her neck where Shulman had grabbed her. I asked her to show them to me. I saw pink red scratches that appeared to have slightly broken skin.
Your
Were
audio
not
is
openly
breaking up.
bleeding. I took a picture of Cully's neck using the axe. I took a picture of Cully's neck using the Axon Capture app and uploaded it to evidence using the case number OFC Officer Ryan had generated this morning. I asked Cully to explain what happened. She stated that after Brookhaven Police Department had left the scene from the civil dispute related to Shulman not letting her into their shared house,
Okay.
he
so
grabbed.
You can actually,
Stop.
you can actually stop there. So
Okay.
do you happen to recall the officer that asked you questions in reference to the scratches behind your neck?
I want to say he was an Asian guy.
Okay.
He maybe more Asian looking.
And did you see, tell us, any of the police on the body cams and any of the footage that we've seen, have you seen that officer on any of the recordings that we've looked at today?
I do not think so, no.
Okay. All right.
Ms. Broom, can you scroll back up to the top just briefly? Okay. I was trying to read the officer's name. It looked,
Mhm.
Toso, Toso, I believe,
Jay Toso, I think is the investigator they had. Mhm.
was the investigator. Okay. And this occurred at 2044, so that would be what, 8:44 at night. All right. And this is after your friend arrived and told you to call the police. Is that correct, Ms. Cawley?
That sounds correct, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Let's move on.
All right, Your Honor, I'd like to enter this, what's been marked as P2 into evidence, Your Honor.
Any objection, Mr. Bixson?
No objection, Judge.
Okay. Admitted without objection.
Mhm.
I think I sank down here.
Yeah, you started getting lower all of a sudden.
Tilt my screen back.
Okay. In hindsight, Ms. Cully, you do realize that you shouldn't have taken Mr. Schuman's phone.
Yes, I do.
Okay. And you, did you ever tell the officers that you were going to lie in order to get Mr. Schuman in trouble?
No, I would never, ever have the poor foresight to tell an officer that. That's nothing I would ever do.
And you listened to some of the recordings we had where at one point you stated pictures are not a lie. Were you admitting to lying or saying that you were lying on Mr. Schuman?
No, that was not my intent, was a lie. Pictures were not a lie. Both Mr. Shulman and I had photos that we had been threatening to release. So I think that's what that was in reference to.
Okay.
Like,
I'm sorry. And so, and you heard lots, there has been a lot of testimony as it relates to threats of suicide, attempts of suicide, anything related to suicide. When did that interaction happen again? What date?
I'm so sorry, Nicole, you'll have to
So there had been
that
lots
again.
of testimony
I'll have
about alleged attempts of suicide, and whether you threatened the suicide or attempts of suicide. You saw a picture that you admitted that was you with pill bottles on the floor. And I think sort of your derriere in the picture. Do you recall that date?
Yeah.
What date was that?
It was the same day that that I was taken to jail, unfortunately. So I believe that was the 27th.
Okay. And so there was there any communication or anything related to threats to suicide or attempts to suicide on the 28th, the 20, just anything thereafter?
No, nothing thereafter. It's only been me getting help.
What about on the 5th?
That was the attack day. I do not think so. No, I was way more concerned with getting justice.
Okay. And so, and just to reiterate, how did you realize that you had bruises on the back of your neck?
I could kind of feel them, and I kind of went ahead and assumed because, I mean, when you pick like
Your audio is breaking up.
with bruise like that with the back of your neck, you know, it's probably. I'm so sorry. Can you hear me now? I'm working
Yes.
on it.
Please
Can
repeat
you hear
the
me now?
last, yes, please repeat the last sentence or two.
Yes, sir. When you have someone pick you up, you know, with brute strength by the back of your neck, it can be kind of assumed that it's going to leave a mark. And, you know, it's hard to see the own back of your neck, but I could feel kind of like that heat, you know, like if, you know, you get squeezed or whatever, you know, you feel it. And when my friend came over and saw and confirmed, that was it. So that's the photo that I submitted.
Okay. And just to be clear on the, and I'm sorry, it's going to obsess. Just to be clear, there was no, did you try to snatch or take Mr. Schumann's phone on the 5th of February at all?
No, in fact, he took my phone because whenever I went upstairs to start getting some dresses for work, I hit record on my phone, and he hit the off record button, and that's when he grabbed me by the back of my neck and threw me down.
Okay. And so, and why, just to generalize, why, what are you asking the court to do? And what are you asking the court to do? What would you like the court to do?
I want a protection order from Shay Shulman. I want a protection order for a year for Shay Shulman so I can move on peacefully with my life and feel safe.
Okay,
That's what I want.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, any recross?
Judge, just one brief question. If we could pull up the respondent's exhibit of the alleged injuries to the back of Miss Colley's neck real quick.
Do you know what the identification of the exhibit is?
Miss Messiah, do you know what your exhibit was labeled as for the picture of the marks on the back of the neck?
I said your exhibit. I meant Miss Messiah's exhibit.
No worries. It's Exhibit A.
Thank you.
All right. So it's plaintiff's or petitioner's exhibit A for your case. Okay.
Yes, Judge.
Ms. Colley, you're saying that he picked you up with one hand. Do you remember whether it's left or right hand?
I can't remember off the top of my head, Your Honor.
And are you saying that you were picked up to the point where your feet were off the ground? Off the
Almost,
floor?
not quite. But it was more of the slam on my left shoulder when he just threw me down. And then when I came to, I really did. I said, Shay, you just really hurt me. And he said, I haven't touched you. And was adamant to the cops when we went downstairs that he didn't lay a hand on me. And
did you receive
it's
any medical treatment?
It's no, sir. They asked me if I wanted to go to the hospital, and I was just so hysterical at the time, and I probably
Okay.
should have. But I'm just looking to start my life over and feel safe doing so.
All right, ma'am, I got the answer. You didn't get medical treatment.
Judge, are we still waiting on that?
Yeah, Ms. Broom, are you still here? Okay, there we go.
Thank you,
Thank
Judge.
you.
Ms. Colley, how much do you weigh? Approximately.
Probably around 145.
And I apologize, the audio is very low. Was that one, you said 145?
Around 145, yeah.
Thank you. And your contention is that Mr. Schulman caused those injuries to the back of your neck when he grabbed you to pick you up, correct?
Yes, he had a lot of force and he was really, really angry.
Thank
He
you.
shoved me. Yes.
That's all, Judge.
All right. Anything else from either side as far as witnesses or evidence to be produced? I told you I'd give you the opportunity in case there was something we left out. I can't imagine what, but if either of you has anything else that you wish to present to the court to bolster either your rebuttal on the other party's case or your case in chief, I'll let you tender that at this point.
The security video.
Hoping that you don't have any, but I'm giving you that
Judge,
opportunity.
you know what? I actually have one last question, and I will make it super brief.
Okay, to go with your other one last question.
Just keeping the court entertained. Judge.
That's typical of lawyers. I've been there, done that.
The court is welcome. Ms. Colley, did you threaten your mother to not come and testify at this hearing today?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance. I mean, his.
Well,
Come on. Yeah.
Now, Ms. Tully, hush.
okay, hold on, Mr. Colley. I mean, I don't know where it's going, but I'm going to allow the question. I already know what the answer is probably going to be, but I'll allow the question.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Colley,
I did not threaten my mother to not testify.
did you text your mother, I will take the long way home to make things very difficult for you?
That's only after she texted me
Objection.
that.
And to be fair, let me. I'll
Hold
read-
on. Ms. Messiah.
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance. I'm gonna go the relevance again. She already answered whether she threatened to her mother to whether or not she testified. Mr. Bixson could have called her mother freely as a witness. I don't understand at this late while we're going down this line of questioning the irrelevant, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Bixson, your response.
All I'm wondering is if she threatened a potential witness that she shouldn't come in and testify today.
What? Okay, you've
I've
gotten
never-
an answer. Okay, you've gotten an answer to that. Did you bring this witness?
Nope, we did not, Judge.
Okay,
That's all I had
then-
asked.
Then we will never know. All right.
Thank you.
Anything else from either side?
No,
Your
Judge.
Honor.
All right. Do either of you wish to make a closing? I ask with hesitation. No, do what you need to do to represent your clients. Yeah, that's your job. So we're here to get it done. So do not take that as an
I
instruction not to be long, but do what you need to do. But I'm pretty
understand,
good at
Judge.
remembering everything I've heard. So just to forewarn you, you don't have to go through every bit of evidence.
Mhm.
All right. Are you going to open, Mr. Bixson?
Yes,
Because we
Judge.
started with his case versus Ms. Cully's case.
Yes, Judge. Your Honor, Ms. Colley needs help. She's admitted to it multiple times. I certainly hope that she gets the help that she needs. The issue here is that her instability and addiction issues are wreaking havoc on the lives of others, namely Mr. Schulman. She's been both verbally and physically abusive with him. We heard multiple instances where she grabbed at his face, where she pushed him, where she punched him, where she spit at him. Each one of these could have been a battery domestic violence charge. It's not even contested, right? She's admitted to at least some of them. There's verbal abuse, including anti-Semitic remarks, overall disgusting behavior. She's lied to investigators time after time to try and manipulate them into getting Mr. Schulman thrown out of his very own home. 3 times she went to the police with the same story, sometimes with some new, clearly manufactured evidence, and every time they didn't believe her. These are trained police officers who inspected her on camera, including the specific area she later claimed to be scratched. In every one of the 3 times she goes to the police, they state there is no evidence. All of this after Mr. Schulman tried to help her, mind you. She tries to kill herself with pills, he helps save her and calls 911. She goes to jail, he bonds her out. But even after helping her, she continues to abuse him, to harass him. And if the verbal and physical abuse weren't enough, she tries to destroy his reputation, contacting family, his co-workers, even messaging his entire neighborhood with false accusations. She risks his job, his relationships, his very freedom, all to get what she wants, which is a place to stay. She's even brought in others, like Miss Weaver, who she at least initially convinced that Mr. Schulman had beaten her, leading to Miss Weaver patrolling Mr. Schulman's house with a handgun. Judge, Miss Colley's lies are so dangerous that Mr. Schulman could be dead right now because of them. Now, although this TPO is filed as a family violence battery TPO, there's plenty of evidence that she had also committed acts of stalking. She's called or messaged Mr. Schulman from 11 different numbers, despite him asking her to stop. This is from someone who says they are in fear of him, which is probably the craziest thing I've heard so far in this case. And the sad thing about this, and I've spoken to Mr. Schulman about this, is that he told me, had he known about the other TPOs that were taken out against Miss Colley, of which we know there were at least 3 in DeKalb alone, he would
Okay,
never.
you're arguing things that are not in evidence, please.
That's fine. I'll move on from that.
Keep on.
Judge, Miss Colley's put Mr. Schulman through so much that he can't even date someone now without a background check. There is an overwhelming amount of evidence, texts, calls, videos. I think the court has suffered through a number of them. I can't remember the last time I saw this many exhibits in a TPO case, but all of them point to the same thing, that the respondent has committed acts of both family violence and stalking, and that Mr. Schulman is innocent of any of Miss Colley's absurd allegations. Simply put, Miss Colley has failed to show by any legal standard that Mr. Schulman has committed any act of family violence, and we ask that you deny her TPO. However, Mr. Schulman has most certainly proven by his case by a preponderance of the evidence, and I would argue most certainly more than that. And we ask that you grant his TPO to provide Mr. Schulman with the protection that he so desperately needs. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Messiah. Thank you, Mr. Vixen.
All right, Your Honor, I think it's clear, and Ms. Cully hasn't hidden. I haven't, Ms. Cully hasn't. It's been clear. She has some challenges. She's readily and freely admitted to some drug use. That she also, has presented that Mr. Schulman has been aware of, that was right in the home that they shared. I don't think there's any, contention as to whether or not of her drug use. In spite of that, in spite of her challenges, we know that no one deserves to be abused. And sometimes those of us who need help the most are the ones that tend to be abused and taken advantage of. Mr. Schulman, he's smart, right? Plain and simply, he's an attorney. We've all been through the process. We know how difficult it is. And this isn't, and I didn't take this case, in order to, and wouldn't have taken it to have false allegations and ruin the life of a fellow colleague. To be quite frank with you, that would really disconcerting if that, if
Judge, I'm just going to object real quick. I don't know if she's testifying here or.
Well, I mean, what I'm doing is empathizing, because I understand, like, you empathize with your client. I'm also empathizing with Mr. Schulman. I'm not presenting evidence that should be presented.
Okay, I think you did some with Ms. Colley as well, but just try to keep it in the form of an argument. I appreciate both of you, looking out for your clients and in a sense, looking out for the other party, maybe.
Right. And so, throughout this case, we keep hearing of these smoking guns that Mr. Vixen has alleged to have, and watch recordings and videos and pictures of these smoking guns and supplemental reports of these smoking guns. For instance, that there's a Facebook post where Ms. Cully lied on her client and lied about, his client, his name wasn't even mentioned in it. Videos where Ms. Cully allegedly told the police that she was trying to, at all costs, essentially, be able to, and I apologize.
That's all right. We need a dog to come in every now and then.
My apologies. Where, she was just trying to find, and I'm sorry, it's heading out the door and everything else.
It's okay. It's okay. It's
Zoom, right?
Zoom, it's the Zoom world. I've had a whole lot worse. Believe me, I've had much worse.
But where, alleging that she lied to the police and told the police, essentially that she wanted to get Mr. Schumann at all costs. There was no video, in none of those videos that Miss Cully said, that she lied and that she just wanted to get Mr. Schumann. Specifically, she was asking about a place to live. We've heard evidence where, at first there was talks of Airbnb, but the rug was essentially pulled out from her and she sought help from the community. Also, as it relates to the supplemental, Mr. Vixen, a supplemental report, shared that essentially the police didn't, believe her. And under Ms. Cully's contention, the reason why they didn't move forward was because there wasn't a warrant that was able to be ascertained by the magistrate judge. With that being said, we also have a dueling supplemental report that says specifically this officer actually saw some of the scratches that were on her back of her neck. Now, granted, it's apparently a time frame had gone by, but saw the scratches nonetheless. The gist of it is we've heard testimony from them both where they've called each other's bosses, they've called each other's HR, they've called each other's mothers, they've called each other's sisters back and forth. Your Honor, plain and simply, my client's not the devil and his client is not a saint, plain and simple. My client has maintained, and in spite of the challenges and how she may have come across and some of the evidence that we've seen, right? And I still maintain it was a smear campaign and not directly related as to even the evidence that we heard about alleged or attempted or threatened suicide was on January 27th, where this incident that prompted Mr. Schumann, or what Mr. Schumann says prompted him to swear out a TPO, took place on February 5th. But, Your Honor, what hasn't changed in spite of the issues is Ms. Cully's contention that she's been assaulted, that she was grabbed in the back of the neck by Mr. Schumann, and she was assaulted and she is scared. That has not changed at all. We didn't hear from Mr. Schumann, where he was afraid. We haven't heard, except that, I'm sorry, he was afraid that she may lie on him, but she hasn't. He's admitted she has not reached out since she's been served with this TPO. She's not reached out to him. She's not reached out to any of his family or called anyone else. Plain and simple, she's been abused. She's gone through, the ringer in this, saw weapons, been afraid of the weapons and what may happen to her. And she's asking the court to extend the TPO. Again, from my perspective, neither one of these parties are saints.
Okay. All right. Any rebuttal at all, Mr. Vixen? Basically, I'll tell you, I'm gonna give both of you a chance to rebut the other if you need to, because they have a petition and she gets to argue twice as well. If each of you only argue once, then we'll keep it equal.
Judge, I think that we could do the stance all day, but I'm going to leave it where it is.
And all night.
Your Honor, I have no interest in moving. That's enough.
As the Commodore said, all night long or something. But I've got a question, Mr. Schulman, if you'll unmute yourself.
Oh, Judge, his audio is going through my computer, so we don't get that feedback.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Mr. Schulman, how many guns do you own? And I'm not saying it's illegal to own them. I'm just asking how many. I saw pictures of 2. That's what I want to know.
Your Honor, there are 2 out of order pistols that I own that aren't in firing condition. I then have 1 concealed carry and one I guess what you would call an AR-15. So 4.
Or would that be a total of 5, including the 2 that were shown in pictures?
That includes those 2, Judge.
Okay. Okay.
So, Your Honor, I'm a temporary, and so it's like there are parts that like there are things that are taken apart that are intermingled with fake guns and look like real guns,
Okay.
but in actuality, there are only 4 fireable weapons.
Where's the AR-15 now?
The AR-15 was given to my brother-in-law for safekeeping when all of this went down, because I did not want to be. So the 2 pistols were given to my dad, and the AR-15 was given to my brother-in-law because I didn't want weapons in the house, because I didn't want to be accused of being.
When was that done?
That was done on, I believe, the 8th, when I took repossession of the home.
Okay. Had you been served as yet with her TPO?
No, I've never been served with her TPO actually to date.
That's true. I forgot that y'all went ahead without service. All right. Well, as I'm sure at least both counsel, and of course we have one party that's an attorney, and I assume trial attorney, that, you know, somewhere along the way, the truth is probably in the middle. We got 2 people sitting here who are adults who at one time had a good relationship, and then it went south in a hurry. For whatever reasons they were, maybe mutual reasons, I don't know. Maybe the drug situation, you know, I'm not here to fix that at all. I mean, it's you're apart from one another, and you present the court with something that pretty much takes everything out of your hands, because y'all were unable to resolve it. I do not believe that I have sufficient evidence in Ms. Colley's case to grant a 12-month TPO. There may be more there. That there were too many inconsistencies for the court to grant that TPO. I am going to grant the TPO to Mr. Shulman. It'll be a 12-month TPO. The respondent is required to stay 100 yards away. Do not call, contact, have any communication whatsoever with him or his immediate family. She will be required to attend the Family Violence Intervention Program. There will be, she will meet with Mr. Ellis, and he will be given, he has her contact information, and she will, there may be alternatives to that may provide her with the help that she needs. In other words, Ms. Messiah, you and your client can talk with Mr. Ellis about alternatives. I have no objection to that. If there's a substitution program that will provide Ms. Colley with the help that everyone seems to believe she needs, that may be more important than the normal program. But I'll let you and Mr. Ellis discuss that. He is in charge of that program, and if he contacts me and says, Judge, we've decided to do X instead of Y, I will have no objection to doing that. Okay. Yes,
Judge,
sir.
I have a quick question on the do not contact provision that you mentioned, that she's not allowed to contact his, it was his friends and his family, correct, Judge?
I believe the order says his immediate family. I can't grant a protective order to the entire world. However, Ms. Colley, go
I
ahead.
apologize, Judge. All I was going to ask was if if I could actually be included in that protection order. This didn't come.
You can't.
Okay.
You
Gotcha.
can't. I mean,
Yeah, that's fine. I figured
that's
I'd
the
ask.
price we pay for being lawyers and handling domestic cases.
Understood, Judge.
But I would strongly urge Ms. Colley to let Ms. Messiah handle all communications if need be. There will be included in this order, she will have to contact the DeKalb County Sheriff Okay, I don't want Brookhaven police, no offense to them, but they're going one call to the next call. They drop her at the door and they're going to leave. The DeKalb County Sheriff's investigators who handle it, there's a special unit that handles the service of our cases, and they also handle the standby to pick up belongings. Now, they're not going to help her move furniture. Ms. Messias, I'm giving you this information so that you can at least remind her of what she needs to do. She needs to have a truck and somebody ready to help haul it out of there. As far as her, I know she's got furnishings in there, but she needs to do that sometime within the 30 days. Can she get that done?
Your Honor, and I'll tell you, I've been on a ride along with actually one of the investigators serving TPOs.
Well, bless your heart.
Well, I did it as a part of leadership academy.
They're very busy, yes.
Yeah, but with that, I know as a matter of fact, and having gone on several of them, that they are allowed to go in for 15 minutes, ascertain things like medicine, and then they have to leave. They can't.
That's at the time of service. That's different.
Right. And so
that's different than what I'm talking about. At time of service, yes, grab your toiletries and grab a few days clothes, and then you're out.
Right, Your Honor. And then you, if you have, let's say, if you have a writ of possession, then the sheriff.
Okay, I don't care about writs of possession because I'm not talking about the marshals.
Right, we're talking about the DeKalb County Sheriffs, Your Honor.
Right, they don't do writs of possession. The DeKalb County marshals do that in the state court and magistrate court.
Right, so I'm talking about her being able, because I know for certain the sheriffs will, and they've come out on an occasion, given a 2-hour window, as long as you have at least 2 individuals in a moving truck to allow the person only 2 hours to move their stuff out. So what I'm just a little, and permit me, I'm not trying to be difficult. I know we're trying to wrap this up. It's just.
I'm trying to make sure she gets her things. She's got to get them out of the house at some point.
And logistically, I'm just, so she's to contact the sheriffs and see if the DeKalb County sheriffs would go there, like schedule.
All she has to do is say that there's a 12-month TPO and that I'm ordered to get my belongings out within 30 days. She can give them multiple dates that she is available to do so. They will then contact Mr. Schulman to arrange a mutually agreeable date for that to happen. And they will stand by while it's being taken out of there. What I'm trying to stress is that she have enough equipment in terms of a U-Haul truck or whatever's necessary and enough people to get it out of there as quickly as possible.
Right. I'm literally just trying to contact, I know Sheriff Maddox. I'm literally just trying to find out, I just want her not having any issues. I want her to get her things. And
whether if you want to call the sheriff, that's fine. But you know, if you can arrange for them to be there longer, but they're not going to help her haul it out. I do this in every case where I grant an order, is that the people need to know, you know, they can't just go over there in their car when they need to get their bed out of there. They got to have enough people. And I'm not ordering Mr. Schulman to help lift anything or move anything out. And I'm sure Ms. Colley wouldn't want him to, but he has a right to stand by while it's occurring. So we need to get a mutually agreeable date, and the rest is her burden to try and get it out of there. And I'm asking if she needs 30 days to do that, then somewhere in that window of time, she needs to have prepared herself and to get this property out of there. I'm trying to make sure she gets everything. And Mr. Schulman, you're under an order. There will be an order not to destroy, damage, or, you know, dispose of any property of hers. Okay. And if there's any disagreement about something that was, well, let me ask in advance, is there anything that either party thinks that could be an issue over a purchase in the last or during the duration of your living together? Is there going to be an issue over that? I can't solve them all here. I'm going to probably direct you to civil court if there is, but I'm hoping there will not be.
Not from Mr. Schulman's end. I mean, if Miss Colley wants to mention some of the maybe the like larger things that she intends to get just to make sure? I have no issue with that at all.
Okay. Obviously, she said she brought furniture in from her previous residence. So I'm assuming anything she brought in, Mr. Schulman, you don't have a disagreement about, correct?
Absolutely not, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Foley, is there anything that was purchased during the relationship that you think both of them are claiming? And please tell me what that is.
Yeah, I do foresee there being I do foresee there being some issues. I actually just signed on my house for me, and
Okay, I just need no items, ma'am.
yeah, there's a dining room table, there's several expensive rugs, there's my bed, there's
Okay, okay. Let me rephrase it, Ms. Cully, so I make sure you understand what I'm asking. I'm
Yep.
asking, is there anything that you did not bring into the relationship? You said you brought all of your furniture, and I think it's in a spare bedroom or the basement or somewhere. Is there anything that was purchased during those few short months y'all were together that you think is going to be disputed?
rugs.
Only that, nothing else. Don't tell me about anything you brought in, okay? Because he
Yep.
knows what you brought in.
Rugs. There was a few expensive rugs.
Did you purchase those?
Yes.
No. You're gonna need to produce
There we
receipts
go.
because I have the credit
Okay.
card bills.
Bring your credit card receipts if you have it, or any cash receipts, whatever. But the sheriff is not going to resolve those disputes there on the scene. I'm just telling you in advance. That's why I'm trying to go over this with you, is that we're not going to have a scene there. Anything that's disputed, the sheriff is going to leave it there, and then y'all are going to have to deal with it in civil court. But I want everybody, Mr. Schulman, if there's something that was purchased by you and you don't want it anymore, let her have it.
Understood, Your Honor. I'll make every accommodation to make it go quick and smooth. I want this over just as much as everyone
I know
else.
both of you do, and I appreciate that. And I want to thank both attorneys for all that you've done presenting your case. You've both done a great job. It was a pretty complex case with a lot of issues, a lot of evidence to be dealt with, and I appreciate the way y'all have handled it. I think that covers everything since
I just have a quick question.
yes, ma'am.
Just as it relates to fact, and, the law and the threat of future violence, I just want to understand and want Ms. Cully to understand what was it that led the court to believe that she was a threat going forward to Mr. Schuman.
I think it was I mean, I'm not required to answer that question for you, but I will try to do as best I can in as general a way as I can. I believe it was the overall behavior that I heard on the phone recordings, the documents, the inconsistencies found by the police, the friend walking around with a gun threatening to shoot her partner if he came in the door, multiple things. All right, that concludes the case, and thank you all, and best of luck. I hope you get it all worked out.
Thank you,
And
Judge. Have a
please
good
try
day.
to handle this property division as quickly as easily as possible.
Sure.
There's not a piece of property in this world worth arguing over. Remember that the current value of that property is what you could get at a yard sale. That's all. It's not what you paid for it.
Good evening, Your Honor. Thank you.
There's a lot of depreciation in that, so please use that time wisely in packing. All right, have a good day.
Thank you, Judge.
Or good